guys, welcome back to Storytime with YDRC. Today, we're going to be continuing to read Klawde, Target Earth. So last time, we left off at the beginning of chapter 43, so that's where we're going to start for today. So let's get started. When Klawde finished explaining, my legs practically gave out from underneath me. My evil Alien Warlord Cat, who was a billionaire tech entrepreneur, who had bought a network of satellites so he could take over Earth and with an army of zombie squirrels? And the one person who could stop him happened to live across the street and paid me to do her yard work, partly in cookies. And people call movies unrealistic. But Klawde, I said, why would you want to conquer Earth? I'm surprised by your reaction, he said. I thought you would be happy that I am taking an interest in your planet. But I stammered. You have to use your words, human. I took a deep breath. You can't conquer Earth, Klawde, I said. You just can't. Except, in fact, I can, he said. Why are you so worried about it anyway? Why am I worried? Are you insane? It won't do anything to you. You already serve me, he said. You will be my #1 lackey. But not just anyone can go and buy 12 satellites, I said. They're like in space. In fact, anyone can buy them, he said, provided they have $12 billion. $12 billion? You spent $12 billion? Wait, never mind, I said, because none of that matters. Lindy's mom is totally onto you. You have to quit all this. As if I would surrender when I am on the very cusp of conquest. Klawde gave a single swish of his tail. And besides, I am glad for the agent ogre, because what would be the fun of world domination if I did not have at least one opponent trying to stop me? Is it hot in here? I thought. As I went outside, I passed my dad, just coming home. Hey, buddy, he said. Where are you off to? I need to get some air, I said. For the next who knows how long, I wandered around my neighborhood in a daze. Was I about to be arrested? Was my cat about to be arrested? Or was he going to succeed in taking over the entire world with an army of squirrels? There were so many things to worry about, I didn't know which one to pick. Chapter 44. Finally, it had taken another interminable Earth day, but the sale of the satellites had gone through, and I was in possession of the necessary access codes with which to control them. All that was left to do was upload the zombie software. I could hardly contain my glee. I called Floofy on the communicator. Do you have the upgrade, minion? You betcha, oh glorious one, Floofy said. I was stumped for a while on how to program these primitive human satellites. But then I went to the Ancient History Museum and found some old feline ones of almost the exact same construction. I was able to use the same software, even though it was a couple 100,000 years old. Fine job. I know a good leader should never praise his underlings, but this was an extraordinary situation. I am really anxious to see how this works, Floofy said once the upload was complete. I have to say, this might be my favorite evil scheme ever. I mean, squirrels! How cute is that? A purr vibrated through my entire being as I placed the VQ helmet upon my head. I engaged global mode, which would allow me to send all of Earth's squirrels on the exact same mission at once. 3D map, I ordered. At once, a spinning virtual Earth appeared, crisscrossed with lines representing the planet's power grid. All I had to do was give my zombie squirrels the command, and Earth's electrical supply would be cut, bringing the planet down to its hideous, hairless knees. Purr. Zombie, engage, I commanded. Squirrels, worldwide strike. The effect would be instant. Instant, I said. Instant? So are you in control of Earth yet, O lordly master? Shut up, fool, I said. Something is wrong. Error message 692976. Curse the 87 moons. What was the meaning of this? It looks like someone has taken all the satellites offline, Floofy said. I threw down the headset in a rage. Who could have done this? Fang didn't even know about this plan, nor did any of my other enemies. Well, except for... No, it could not be. Not a human. Was it even possible? With all the excitement surrounding Earth's conquest, I had neglected my surveillance of the agent ogre. I glanced out the window toward her fortress, and there she was. Not inside of it, but standing on what the humans call the front lawn. My front lawn. There were other ogres approaching the fortress as well, or should I say, invading my territory. All of them wore jackets bearing the acronym of Furless, Brainless Idiots upon their backs. This was an annoying development. Chapter 45. Can you babies shut up down there? Scorpion yelled from his bedroom window. I'm trying to finish level 83 of Psycho Warrior 7. Steve, who was about to hurl a bunch of wet leaves at me, stopped. Cedar, who was sneaking up behind him with her own handful of slimy leaves, did the same. Obviously, we weren't supposed to be having a leaf war. We were supposed to be cleaning the gutters. Scorpion kept glaring down at us. Besides, he said, don't you losers know that help is supposed to be quiet? Cedar, Steve, and I looked at each other. Then we took our slimy leaves and hurled them up at Scorpion's window. We didn't hit him, but the look of fear on his face was awesome. Being one of the 3 gardeneers, it turned out it was pretty great, and work could actually be fun. You know, once he started goofing off. All in all, I felt better than I had in days. The VQ had totally been messing up with my mind. I didn't really have to pull a shift at Starista every day, and Klawde wasn't really going to take over the world. He'd probably just gotten into the catnip again. And it wasn't like the FBI was going to come arrest me. We got ice cream on the way home. As we turned down the street, Steve pointed his dripping cone in the direction of my house. Hey, Raj, he said, what are all those vans doing in the driveway? And why do they all have the word Fibby written across them? Uh-oh. Chapter 46. The invading ogres appeared to be positioning themselves for a paramilitary raid. While this was mildly inconvenient, it would also be educational. After all, I needed to study human attack and siege techniques. As the agent ogres approached the front portal, I wondered how they would enter. Would they kick in the door with their massively powerful human legs? Disintegrate it with lasers? Ding dong! They were ringing the doorbell? The fools! This was not how you raided a fortress. But the tactical error of the invaders would give us more time to prepare our counterstrike. I considered revealing my identity to the parent ogres so we could join forces in battle. But then I considered something else. Why save them when I could simply save myself? I quickly stowed the VQ headset in my letterbox command center alongside the communicator, covering them both with sand. Next, I ascended the stairs, only to find that the mother ogre had willingly opened the portal to our enemies. Was she surrendering without a fight? I would have expected this of the father ogre, but not her. To protect myself, I assumed the disguise of an earth cat. Meow, I said. Meow, meow. But I had no idea what to do next. Then I thought, what would Flabby do? Of course, I should eat some disgusting kibble. Fearing my fangs would dull if I chewed the rocky pellets, I swallowed them whole. As I did, I chanced to glance up. No one was looking at me. Could the furless, brainless idiots actually be buying my ruse, even when it was so obvious that I was the criminal mastermind of the fortress? The neighbor human interrogated the parent ogres. She had many questions about Wizcuz, but my humans simply shook their heads in confusion. I realized that I had underestimated the neighbor ogre. Perhaps she was not worthy of the exalted title Nemesis, but she was a more able foe than I had given her credit for. Audaciously, I approached and bestowed upon her the leg twirl, simultaneously complimenting and mocking her. Imagine her shock if she knew that the sinister genius she so desperately sought was right under her fleshy ogre nose. Purr. I wondered what plans she had for my humans. Surely she would imprison them, and likely string them up by their flat finger claws. Or perhaps she would put them into forced labor. I doubted that they would ever again see the light of day. Ah, well, better them than me. Thankfully, the boy ogre was not at home. I hoped at least he would evade punishment. After all, someone needed to keep the refrigerator stocked with dairy products. The other furless, brainless idiots had by now swarmed the fortress, and they were removing various pieces of human technology, such as the large flat device that the bald ogre sat ceaselessly in front of when he was home. I only hoped they would take that hideous couch as well. Chapter 47. I froze. What should I do? Turn myself in? How was I even supposed to do that? Just stick my hands up? But what exactly would I be turning myself in for? I watched as a pair of FBI agents came out of the house carrying our TV. They were followed by another agent, who was coming straight for me. We should probably go, Raj, Cedar said. Yeah, I think I hear my mom calling me, Steve said. Wait, guys, don't go, I whispered to their backs. Then, when I turned around again, I found myself staring straight at the letters FBI. They were stitched across the jacket of the agent, who was as big as a linebacker. I looked up, but instead of seeing his eyes, I saw myself, reflected back in his mirrored sunglasses. It was terrifying. The agent held up a badge. I'm Agent Jacobson, he said. Are you Raj Banjari? All I could do was nod. Then he pulled off his sunglasses and gave me a smile. Pleasure to meet you. He stuck out his huge hand. It took me a minute, but I realized he wanted to shake me to shake it. And it felt like he broke half of my finger bones when I did. If you'll just follow me. I think some explanations are in order, he said. I gulped and followed him up the porch and into my house, where I found my parents talking to Annie. And she was apologizing. Annie turned to me. I'm so sorry about all this, Raj, but once I realized that Mr. X, or Wizcuz as he prefers to be known, really did hack into your computer to get to mine, which we had to follow standard operating procedure, which I'm afraid meant raiding your house. While she went on explaining, I noticed that Klawde was sitting right next to her. He had a smug look on his face. Wasn't he at all worried about this? No. Are there any questions you'd like to ask me, Raj? Well, I said, scratching my head. Do you have any idea who this Wizcuz really is? Me, Klawde said. Ow. I'm afraid we don't, Annie said, reaching down to pet him. But whoever he is, he has almost unlimited computing and programming power. We could be dealing with a truly malevolent force. Klawde began to purr and rub against Annie's leg. Wow, An evil genius is using our computers? Dad said. That's so cool. I've never been so close to an evil genius before. But what's he trying to do? My mom asked. Wizcuz, sorry, that name is ridiculous, secretly brought back bought a network of satellites and uploaded dozens of encrypted programs to their onboard computers. These programs were so sophisticated, we don't understand them yet. But we do know that they were designed to alter the waves that satellites were transmitting. Fascinating, Mom said. And how did you connect the scheme to this Wizcuz character? The satellites cost $1 billion apiece, and the purchase was made entirely in Kitcoin, Annie said. The only person with access to that much of a cyber currency was whoever created it. The agent who had brought me inside interrupted us. Mr. and Mrs. Bangery, may I have your handheld devices? You mean our iPads? Dad said. I mean all of your devices, sir, he said. Annie explained that nearly anything electronically owned could have been hacked into, and that Wizcuz might have left clues to his identity on them. My dad looked horrified. Even my phone? He said. You can't mean my phone. And wait, not the TV. It's already gone, sir. But why? Dad said. It's just a poor, innocent television. It's also a networked computing device. Meow, Klawde said. Meow, meow. Then he rubbed up against Dad's leg. Dad looked down at him in dismay. And on top of everything, there's something wrong with Klawde. What do you mean? Annie asked. He looks like a normal happy house cat to me. That's what I'm talking about, Dad said. Chapter 48. As the ogres continued to speak, it became apparent that the agent ogre and the rest of the furless, brainless idiots would not imprison any of my humans. This was, I suppose, a positive development. On the other hand, it was disappointed in the extreme to be deprived of my satellites. But as the great Siamese himself once said, a planet too easily conquered is not worth conquering at all. I still did possess a vast fortune, and as long as I was the wealthiest being on the planet, I would also be the most powerful. So in truth, I had already conquered Earth. Purr. But then the agent ogre mentioned something that concerned me. Because of what has happened, she said, I expect Kitcoin to experience a correction. A correction? What did this mean? Well, I hope it doesn't correct too much, the father ogre said, because I'm counting on that Kitcoin to buy me an autographed Mariano Rivera jersey. No longer able to maintain my friendly feline disguise, I scratched the father ogre. He was worried about his one Kitcoin? What about my millions of Kitcoins? Aw, Klawde, you're feeling better, the father ogre said, rubbing his wound. I hurried down to my bunker command center. It was dangerous with the enemy still lurking about the fortress, but I dug up the communicator to check the loot counter app. I was relieved to see that the Kitcoin had reached an all-time high. Safe in knowledge that I was growing richer by the second, I settled into a contemplative nap. I napped many times that afternoon and into the evening, all of it gloriously uninterrupted by the boy ogre. Sadly, such a blissful state could not last. Klawde, are you down here? He called. As I yawned and stretched, I glanced again at the ticker app on the communicator, and I saw something I had never seen before. 1 Kitcoin equals 4.13 cents. 1 Kitcoin equals 4.08 cents. 1 Kitcoin equals 4.04 cents. 1 Kitcoin equals 3.97 cents. Cents! What were cents? Ogre, I called. Are cents what comes after billions in your primitive system of counting? No, the boy ogre said. Cents are worth less than $1. I let out a yowl to pierce the upper strata of the atmosphere. But how could this have happened? You should look at a news feed, the boy human said. Every story is about how the mysterious founder of Kitcoin tried to purchase a bunch of satellites for some totally evil purpose, and it sent the value crashing. And they even use your name, WizCuz. You're famous. My tail slashed in rage, as if I cared about something so insignificant as human fame. I had lost my money, my power. Curse that ancient ogre and what she had done to me. Right now, she was surely baking celebratory snickerdoodles, gloating over this correction. I would show her that WizCuz the Magnificent was not beaten yet. Chapter 49. I don't think I've ever felt so relieved as when the whole FBI thing was over. Annie kept the raid of our house out of the news. She decided it was called classified information, which I thought was awesome. I'd never had anything top secret happen to me before. Of course, Annie couldn't stop people in the neighborhood from talking. Grumpy Mr. Wallace told everyone that we were being arrested for overcharging at a yard sale. And then there was school. I was just about to walk inside when I heard someone call me. Yo, Rat, Scorpion said. Yeah? Heard the FBI raided your house, he said. When did it become illegal to be a loser? He looked to Newt for a laugh, but instead she said, I actually think it's pretty cool. And this time, Newt wasn't pulling my leg. And other kids thought it was cool too. It was like when everyone at school found out that I knew the author of America Man comics. Brody saved me a seat at the cafeteria, and William bought me lunch. And I remembered to make it vegetarian. Meanwhile, all the other kids wouldn't stop with the questions. What was it like being raided by the FBI? Did they have weapons? Were there sirens? No fair! I want to be raided. Did you get handcuffed? Were you scared? Are you going to jail? It was kind of fun to be middle school famous again, but I knew it wouldn't last. Anyway, all I really cared about was that no one in my family was going to jail. And though it was a bit of a bummer not having a cat who was rich anymore, I sure wasn't taking the Kitcoin crash as hard as Miss Emmy Jo was. She'd been back in homeroom that morning. She was not happy about it. Dang that kitty coin! I had to put my diamond-encrusted glitter kitchen sweatshirt up on eBay, she'd said. If any of y'all want it, it's at a bargain of $7,000. I felt kind of bad for her. At least I was getting to keep my light-up sneakers and my skateboard. Chapter 50. I awoke from my sunrise nap, refreshed and re-enraged. Across the street, the ancient ogre lay snug in her fortress, certain that she had vanquished me. But today I would send her a message, a warning that she could never rest peacefully, for as long as the squirrels of this zone were under my command, WizCuz was far from defeated. Soon I would put my zombified pawns to work. First, they would chew through her electrical wires. Then they would infiltrate her vehicle and disable its engine. Finally, they would turn their teeth to the fortress itself, nibbling holes in its roof until it was rendered uninhabitable. Donning the VQ helmet, I sent the Zombeam drone aloft and entered multi-squirrel mode, selecting every tree-dwelling rodent within range. I quickly programmed their tasks and uttered the command, "Squirrels, attack!" Within moments, a legion of squirrel zombies had descended upon the she-ogre's fortress. Oh, how I loved controlling them. These fluff-tailed fools didn't even know they were being used. One by one, they began to attack. Then something went awry. Connection lost, The error message kept repeating until every single one of my squirrels had been released from the zombies' control. Suddenly, a voice came through the headset, a voice I would know anywhere. Whiz Cozdavile, it has been many moonrises since we have spoken. Right before my eyes appeared a virtual 3D image of he who hated me most, Colonel Acornius Maximus. You, I cried, but how did you know? We of the Shadowtail Confederacy have always kept watch over our earthly brothers and sisters, Colonel Acorn chittered. Once we discovered this nefarious zombie and found out who had created it, oh, how I rejoiced in the opportunity to thwart you, you thin-tailed villain. My tail is exactly the right size, I said, and even though you have just foiled my greatest evil scheme, I am unable to feel rage against you, because you are just so adorable. Colonel Acorn let out a squeak of fury and shook a tiny paw at me. You'll pay for such insults, and you shall never again be left in peace. You dared use my squirrel brothers to spy on the humans? Now they shall spy on you. What do you have to say about that, you oversized, long-whiskered feline? What do I have to say? I asked. That you are even cuter when you were making your threats. He looked as if he were about to explode. And then, just as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone. This was probably for the best. There was only so much cuteness I could take right now. Chapter 51. With all of our devices gone, I was forced into a life of no screen time. Steve in particular felt bad for me. It's almost like someone died, he said. Honestly, though, I felt freed. In fact, I was pretty sure I never wanted to play another virtual reality game ever. But I thought you wanted the VQ Ultra more than anything. I told him that I wanted something else more now. And after I explained what it was, he wanted it too. The Astro 9000? Cedar said when we got to her house. You guys want to chip in and buy the telescope I've been saving for together? Yeah, I told her. I love space and stuff. And besides, between the three of us, we've saved enough to buy it right now. And you agreed to this? She said to Steve. Did your brain catch Raj's flu or something? Steve shrugged. I never could decide what I wanted to do with the money anyway. Back at home, I found Mom walking around the house, rearranging the silverware drawer for the 5th time because her laptop was gone, and Dad sitting on the couch, staring at the wall where the TV used to be. You guys want to go for a walk? I asked. My parents looked at each other like they didn't understand what I was saying, and then they turned back to me with a smile. Sure, they said. I went up to my room to grab a sweatshirt. Klawde was on the windowsill, mumbling to himself and staring at a squirrel in a tree outside. The squirrel was staring straight back, and he looked kind of angry. I guess Klawde really wasn't controlling them after all. Acorn, who would have thought, he went on mumbling. And a mother ogre, I should have known. Mother ogres are not to be trifled with. Sounds like you learned a lesson. Klawde, I said. I had too. Money didn't matter when you already had everything you needed. And I wasn't talking about computers, phones, or VR headsets. I was talking about family and friends. And you, Klawde. Any more of your sentimental values and I'll cough up a hairball the size of a dwarf star, Klawde said. Be gone, idiot human. Fine, I said, and left to take a walk with Mom and Dad. The end. That's it for today. And that is the end of Klawde Target Earth. And that is all of the Klawde series as of now. So, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!